Let's continue. Let's close here, we close here. We find the culprits. Just for your knowledge, 1 hour of recording, 1 GB. That's right. Continue. This is all. This is all the examples from nature object Cmdlet. Measure text, measure object containing a specified property. In this case, we save the services, we save the processes, we sum each one of them, or list a list of objects of different kind. This one are services, this ones are processes. This will result in a new list containing all the objects. Here we measure the objects. We will count every single one of them and check it. Let me solve something here. Quizás settings, audio, meter, as okay, sound. No, I don't know. Leave it default. Let's change it here. Close. Close. Continue. This is the sum of all the objects, and these are the number of objects that has a property name, display name. Okay, but this that's the problem. You are not getting the value of the property. You are getting the number of objects that has this specified property name. Measure the contents of the CSV file. Import CSV. This is the path. Measure object. Measure property name, and in this case, yes, we have Eva. Yes, but yes, this is no property. That's this. And that's another sample. This is another sample. Measurable boolean values. Property, yes, it's a container. and maximum sum, minimum, average. Count these numbers. That's the maximum, that's the minimum. There are only two numbers. There are only two possible numbers of values for Boolean. And this is the name of the property. Measure string. The new line character separates the string into separate lines, as shown in the output. This is a string that contains the special character new line. You precede every special character by this symbol. I don't know the name, but in this case, in this computer, we access it through the key to the left of the number 1. So in this case, this in reality are three different lines, and this will count the number of lines. This is the example. First, write this. This is the result. This is the output of this command. And this is the output of the other three. The first string counts as a single line. The second string is into two lines by the new line character. 1, 2, 3. Measure object line. What? The first string counts as a single line. Yes. This is the first string because it is closed. This tells you another object. This is the second object, in which represent two lines because of the presence of this special character. So the second string is separated into lines by the new line character. The result, 3 lines. The word switch counts the number of words in each input object. Each input object is treated as a single line. This is an object separated by a comma. No. This is an object. This is the second one. This is the third one. We give it a word, switch parameter, and the line. The first one counts the number of words in total throughout the different input lines. Yeah. And this counts the number of lines. That's a problem. Here says each object is treated as a single line. Well. System. These are the samples, input object, you can write objects, output, generic, measure, input. If you use the word parameter, measure, object, returns text measure info. Otherwise, it returns generic measure info. Common parameters were some property minimum, maximum, input, average. So does need a parameter? No. If you omit a parameter, it will count all the objects that receive. If you want to deal with strings, you will have to write word, line, characters, not what spaces. You are dealing with a property. You write the property name, the property name as an string, and you specify if you want the average, maximum, sum. Okay. Okay. Yes. I understand. In the majority of the examples and the instances that I have used this Cmdlet, it's been through the use of the pipeline. So in that case, I do not need to write the parameter name input object, because this commandlet accepts objects through the pipeline. I just call the commandlet and it will receive the objects. Later, I can specify the property. The problem with property is a positional parameter. You always have to be in the first one. That's it. So we can specify the property by which we want to measure the object later in the other position, that we have to use the property name. In case we do not want to write the property name, we just give it a list of the strings in the first position. Let's try to give an example in the case of process. Let's find a property that we can sum, for example, ID. Let's measure the number of processes that has. Let's continue with this with me, because we are dealing here with strings. Here are expecting string. These are the first parameter. This is optional. You can remove it. And here I specify another parameter, for example, words. this side. If I write word, it will give me total number of word contained in 207 objects. Let's continue. See how the number of processes can change over time. Okay, so this is not a good indication. I'm not sure if all the processes name consist of just one word. Let's find out another property. Screen property. Expression F product version. We can get the total of page memory size. Okay, let's find out. Property name. Property name, page. Memory size. Let's see. So now page memory size. Memory size. Big page. Property name. Well, yeah. Is here. He's interpreting this as a positional parameter. A positional parameter cannot be found. It assumes that it is a positional parameter because there isn't any parameter name. In this case, this is a parameter name, so assume that the follow the next command should be related with this property name. Let's do it. Yeah. So there are 208 processes with a total of 6 gigabytes. So yeah, I don't understand the different types of memory. Page system and page system, big page, virtual, big working set, big working, broad, private, privilege, process name, processor affinity, responder, safe handle, session ID, site, standard error, standard time, thread, total processor time. Let's find the process with the maximum process time. Processor. Processor. Total processor time. 2 S's. This will be 4 hours. Let's see. I want to know the name of this process. Let's find out what other values or properties I kept following the use of this command. The help told us that the object that it generates is a generic measure input. Here, it's a single object. It's a single object, and it gets average, scale, maximum, minimum, property. So, this is just a list manifestation or a list format. This will give you one object in which it is safe, it contains different properties, different values, and the default behavior of the output dealing with this type of object is to format it as a list and give all the properties. These are 6 and these are 6. The problem is that it is not in the same order, I guess. I'm not sure. Here the first one is average, and here the first one is count, average, and maximum. Average, maximum, minimum. Well, that's another subject. Maybe it has a parameter somewhere it has this other specific color, because probably this is a hash table and the hash table doesn't kept its order throughout time. So we are getting just one object where we can compare it with another object. We can get the hash code that I don't know still what it means. We can get style. We can turn it into a string, and we have 6 properties with certain values. So I cannot get the name. So I guess that will have to sort. In this case, we will have to sort the different processes by this property. So get process sort object property total processor time. I guess that we will force sort the list of objects ascending from lowest to higher. So I want the last. Huh? Good. No. Okay. I want the last. Later. Let's see. Here we will try to see if this expression gets evaluated before we call a method. And method. Its name is in theory theory will give us one object that represents a process, and it contains all the properties and methods related with a process object. So here, maybe, let's find out. Enter, enter. This is indicating us that there is a syntax error. Here, expressions are not allowed as first element of pipeline. So I cannot do that. That's right. Maybe we have to deal with another command. Get object. I guess I don't know if I can retrieve the property value. Maybe 14. The term get object is not recognized as a name of a common function script for get object. So object get set. So let's Let's make as the problem kept select item. I kept forgetting the names. Yes. Let's get item. No, problem is not with get item now. The problem is with this one. A parameter cannot be found that matches parameter name last. Perfect. Sort. Maybe select. I believe that yes, select is the one. So, here, erase this. We select the item and last. No. Select item is not recognized as a common. Select object. Okay. No. Yes. And missing in argument to yes. Last first. Exception getting the purple purpose of time associated 9. What? Sort by name. That's the last one. This is the first one. This is a total. Parameter. Parameter. Let's just. Property. Yes. Yes. here it show you that what this Cmdlet produces, it is one object, and this is the standard default way to present it. But if I want just one item, I send that object to format list Cmdlet, and I specify that I just want this property. If I wanted more, I could use a list to separate the different property by comma. I believe no, it will not. Unless it told it that we are dealing with a list. So no, it don't want. Maybe if we told him that we're dealing with strings. Yes. So, yeah. Maybe if it is this. Yes. Este, let's see. Let's change to Spanish. This is a substance. Oh, oh, okay. Let's copy it to go process sort property. Por lo que recuerdo, este sort object permite ordenar, obviamente. Tú especificas el tipo, el nombre de la propiedad. La select object allow te permite seleccionar, extraer de una lista los objetos que tienen cierta propiedad. Tú puedes alimentar a esto una script donde especifica que tal propiedad tiene que ser igual, mayor, menor, igual, tanto. Y cuando se cumple ese término, trae el elemento o pasa al siguiente paso. Si no especificas de esa manera, te permite seleccionar primero, el último, identificar o traer específicamente de acuerdo al index, creo, de la lista. Entonces es mejor siempre tener la lista, la colección ya ordenada previamente al uso de este comando. Ok, en este caso, todos tenemos el proceso, lo ordenamos por nombre, ya tenemos el último, tenemos el primero. Aquí que lo ordenamos por nombre, que lo contamos. Que lo contamos. Aquí podemos hacer una lista con una cierta cantidad de parámetros especificados de propiedades. Ajá. Ahora vamos a lidiar con este error. ¿Por qué no me permitía ordenarlos de esta manera? Por alguna razón me dice que no, acceso es negado. Así que sí reconoció el nombre de la propiedad. Let's continue. Vamos a revisar de nuevo las propiedades que tiene un objeto de proceso. Dice que process. Una manera de tener un proceso en específico es usar el parámetro name y le entregamos un string correspondiente al nombre. Y tenemos dos instancias de procesos con el nombre notepad. Aparte, usamos getMember para tener los miembros pertenecientes al proyecto. Alias property, events, method, node, property, properties. In this case, we are dealing with total processor time. Let's see if we can let's remember now. Okay, now right. Let's get the command that has as now the term item. Clear. This remove the concept of the item. This copy, this gets the item. Meaning you retrieve this object. There is a difference between an item and an object. I don't remember what it is. Bulk item, move item, new item. You can create files and directories and events and links. I will remove, delete, rename, and set. Here you don't get select, you just get. And let's try object. Object, you can compare it, you can for each deal with a collection of object one by one, and you can give or send those results through a pipeline to the contrary of for each command. Measure new. There is a difference between new item and new object. item could be a file or an object or a directory. And an object is an object. For example, a file has an object describing its location, its name is an object string. It has a type. The size is represented with another object, and so on. So a file is not an object. Here you need to specify the type of the object. Here you have to specify the type of item and its name. And here you can select. You can retrieve certain object depending condition. Compare. There's a lot of difference between those. You just can create a new one. You can remove, you cannot rename, you cannot set, you cannot invoke, you cannot get, you cannot copy, you cannot clear. You only can remove object. Clear. You cannot clear it because it has not content. It has properties, it has values, it has methods. In the case of an item, you can clear it because it has content. You can copy. That's good. You can get it. You can get here an item. You can select an object. Get an item. Yes, I use it in the case of files or a directory. But that means that an item has objects. You cannot invoke an item means that you are retrieving it from another source, another provider. Move. You cannot move an object. You cannot remove an object. Either rename it or set. Name. Size. That's weird. That means that objects don't have name. Variables have names. What can we do with a variable? Let's use markup. Yes. See. Yes. So for in the case of variables, you can set dynamic variable, parameter variable, give content, give value. Here you are either creating or specifying different dynamic. I guess the dynamic is that we have a parameters that only can receive certain number of values. You cannot receive a random value. It has to be of a certain type and one of the limited list. Let's take a break. Second hour.